Hello, and welcome to MindShifters Radio. I'm Michelle Pache, and I'm filling in for Jeanie as co-host today, June 15th, 2016. Thank you for joining us, and it would be lovely to hear from you. If you'd like to join our conversation, caller number is 646-200-4169. You'll press 1, and that puts you in the queue to join Michael in asking any questions or comments that you have about forgiveness, which allows you to strengthen and deepen your practice. So I have glad to be participating myself today, and welcome, Michael.
Well, thank you, young lady. I appreciate you stepping in for Jeanie today so that we could be on the road. We're actually just walking out of our domicile here in Allenton, Florida, and heading over to get Jeanie to the airport tomorrow. I have to Bristol, Tennessee. You may have heard the door close behind me. We're just getting on the road. So thank you.
Wonderful.
What's exciting in your world, Michelle?
Ooh, my daughter graduated, Alyssa, who came to Heartland 2 years ago. As a 16-year-old, graduated from high school last week. And so a lot of house prep and party prep to get ready for a big open house this weekend. And the weather is on track, and the chores are on track, and things are lining up. I think I've utilized the tools related to this work to the most extreme I ever have in the last month. It's and not always successful, Michael. It's been very evident when the stress is up, the forgiveness tools sometimes default because I'm still practicing and learning, and they get challenged because they're not fully integrated when it's super stressful.
Well, gee, I'm surprised that's still happening to you. That never happens to me. Oh, Jeanie's laughing in the background. I hear you loud and clear. Congratulations on your daughter's graduation. That's pretty awesome. The accomplishments of both your kids there are pretty fabulous. And you know, it's that rule of the 3 Ps: practice, practice, practice. That's what it takes to put these tools to work. And I don't know anybody that's complete, anybody that's finished with it. It's just a process. You know, when you start recognizing you're integrating a way of living into that's probably been rarely, if seen, on planet Earth in the last 2,000 years, into that many thousands of years of genetics, you know, it's going to take a little time.
Well, that's the reason I've chosen to, commit to the MindShifters support group. Even when I don't want to go, which is plenty of time, I am committed to go because staying in the conversation, being in the radio community, committing to that every day, to continue to strengthen my mind related to concepts and always kind of have it in my face, because there is, a lot of cultural influences that don't necessarily support this in the way that, so it's creating that support. And I think my frustration is related to the fact I teach it and I'm committed to it, but that, it's still a challenge at times. And so then you think about people who have, jobs and careers in industries where that's, not happening. I have a lot of clients who work at the state of Michigan. And so it's just, I imagine to myself, wow, I'm challenged. I can't imagine if, you don't have these environments that really support it. Every client I'm talking about forgiveness with. So, 5 to 8 hours a day.
We teach what we need to learn, for sure.
Apparently, I know. So thank you for asking.
And I've had that thought many, many times. It's like, I just don't know how people do it if they don't have the continuous engagement. I look at my life, and I kind of partially chose to teach, and was partially kind of what should I say? The environment kind of pushed me into it. Some gentle nudges, and I look back, and it's like, if I hadn't done that, where would I be today? Where would my mind be? Where would my heart be? Where would my relationships in my life be? And I just can't imagine it. And so, for those who who don't have that kind of strong support, that's an invitation to say, teach it. You get to keep on an energetic level, especially when it comes to new ways of thinking and living in the world. On an energetic level, you only get to keep what you give away. If you don't give it away, it won't be yours for long. And I wonder if Dr. Tim has any thoughts on that idea. Are you there, Tim?
Michael, he was, and then now it seems like maybe he's left the board. So he'll call back in a second.
Yeah.
You've got an intro maybe. We got a couple callers with a hand up, and I'm going to be quiet for a little bit because when I logged onto my daughter's computer, I got an error message that I have to update the Slash program so I can open chat room. So I didn't want to do that in this intro.
Okay.
But
awesome.
I'm going to hang on. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you, young lady. Well, welcome. It's Recovery Wednesday, and what Michelle was just describing was her recovery process. And recovery is about reclaiming the truth of who you are from any kind of anything that you're addicted to. And our definition in this work of addiction is the compulsive use, and there's the key to it. If somebody has a glass of wine every night, are they an alcoholic? No. But the person who has a glass of wine twice a month because they're feeling rough and it's been a bad day and they don't want to deal with it, that's addiction. And so it's the compulsive use of any person, place, substance, circumstance, or activity, number one, to hide who you are from yourself, to keep from hearing and following your highest guidance and functioning as a true human being. And sometimes that shows up as conscience. So shutting off the conscience so we can do the behaviors that what we call the non-being mind demand that you do, the behaviors that come with strong feelings, with physiological push, you feel it in your gut, or strong emotions, thoughts that are so strong that go against functioning as love that it's hard to resist them. So covering up the truth of who we are with some kind of substance and shutting down that conscience so we can't hear it and are able to follow what's going on in the gut, going on in the generational database called the body-mind unit, and or simply anesthetizing ourselves against the pain that's held within us that we don't want to feel, that we don't want to deal with. And so our encouragement here is to take hold of the tools to keep bringing the truth of who you are forward. And I promise you again and again and again and again, and I'm speaking from my own experience, maybe there's somebody who doesn't experience this, as Michelle was just saying, you'll fail at it. But that's the process of learning, and failure, people tend to make, you failed, oh boy, that's really bad. But, if you think about it, if you've raised a child, how many times did your child fail at walking? How many times did they try to get up and boom, they were back on their butt or maybe on their faces? 1,000,000 times. At what point in that process would you grab the child by the shoulder and said, well, that's it, kid. You're just never going to walk. You failed. Now stop. No, that's not what you do. You pick the child up, you support them, and the child builds brain cells for how to control its muscles and its goals to be able to walk. It's a process. And that's, in some cases, a very long process for some children, and in some other cases, a shorter process. But the same process of picking up the truth of who you are, and our question, if you're new to the show, the question we regularly remind people that we ask is, if you want to know what love is, hold a newborn child. You will never define it. You can come up with 10 billion words out of the dictionary, and you will never capture the taste of, the essence of, the experience of, the knowledge of what love is. But hold a newborn, and you know exactly what it is. And remember that that is the truth of who you are. Everything else is an aberration. And stored within our genes are the energetic assaults and offenses of 1,000 generations. If you go back into the ancient Aramaic, the man named Yeshua was a geneticist, and when the ancient teachings say the sins of the father will be passed, yea, into 3 and 4 generations, they're talking about sin, first of all, being an archery term that simply means off the mark. When you fired at the bullseye and you missed the bullseye, the scorekeeper would yell, sin. Didn't mean there was anything wrong with you. You just didn't hit the mark. And when we engage in that energy, which is less than the truth of who we are as love, we engage in hostility, fear, grief, rage, drama, trauma, pain, hatred, vengeance, gossip, slander. We engage in those things. We're engaging in energies that are off the mark. And the idea is each time you do that, to become aware, to notice the gift life has given you, to show you the energy in you that's off the mark and get to forgive it. You never forgive the person you're standing in front of. You never forgive yourself. You apply forgiveness to energetic offenses that have happened within your energy field that surface as feelings. And the removal of those energies, because they've been made up by men, leaves you with the only thing that's true, and that is the experience of yourself as the active presence of love. And so that's what we're here to support. And when you're not experiencing that, we invite you to refrain from that person, circumstance, substance, activity, or behavior that you would otherwise use to anesthetize yourself. Be with it, move through it, and deal with it. So that's where we're heading with this work. And let's see, I bet you that Gail is out there. Is she? Is Gail there?
Well, I'm here, Michael.
Oh, Tim, hey, welcome back, sir.
I had some difficulties, and we had a 618. Apparently, Michelle is back on. She just turned her on. So just quickly, what was coming up for me when I was listening to Michelle and you talk about it, and Michelle talking about how challenges come up maybe more than ever before she's had to use the tools, I was thinking about the circle of life and how to play it in that video, and how you talk about this roadmap for figuring out where I am. And a lot of people want to talk about whether they're enlightened and how much work they've done in the past. And what I keep trying to get people to understand is the single most useful thing for me has been to realize it doesn't matter how much work I've done in the past. What matters is, in this moment, have I been triggered? And if I'm feeling something less than the connection to all that is and my true nature as love, I can only correct that mistake if I acknowledge that it's there. And in that roadmap that you lay out in the Circle of Life and how to play it, you say, here's how to use this as a tool. In any moment when I get triggered, I can say, oh, here's the event that happened, here was my response to it, here was my denial and suppression, here's how I believe it's somebody else, etc. And then I can step back through that because I've recognized where I am in the moment in the process of blocking myself from experiencing myself as love and experiencing everyone else as love. So those were the brain cells that were triggered for me during that discussion, and I was about to answer it when I got cut off.
Great. Well, right on track. I'm right along with you. And I came across, I've been reading a little bit of Jung's work lately, and I came across a couple of interesting quotes. He's just so in tune. I would have loved to have sat down and spent hours and hours and hours and hours in conversation and process with Carl Jung. But he says, on this topic of, am I finished with my work? No one can flatter himself that he is immune to the spirit of his own epoch, or even that he possesses a full understanding of it. We've all got a past, the generational patterns. And Jung, with all the work he did, here he is acknowledging himself, hey, I haven't got it all handled. Here we are in the process. And to look at the root of it, and, every experience, and we were talking about trauma yesterday, and that was some great input you had about trauma yesterday. And every experience of trauma where one loses awareness of being, to me, in the context of this quote that I'm going to share of Jung's, is an experience that takes us back to that receptivity of the childhood mind and the tendency to get locked into energetic patterns. So Jung says the little world of childhood with its familiar surroundings is a model of the greater world. The more intensively the family has stamped its character upon the child, the more it will tend to feed and see its earlier miniature world again in the bigger world of adult life. Naturally, this is not a conscious intellectual process. Every energy from every generation is there impacting, creating, generating the world we see and the experiences we attract to ourselves. And it is the forgiveness of that that allows us to recover the truth of who we are, the truth of being. Thus, Recovery Wednesdays. So let's check in and see if Gail is there. Young lady, how do you be? I think you're there.
I am here. And I am well.
How are you? What's exciting in your world, and what's on your mind for today?
Well, I have 4 comments, and then based on things that have been talked about already, and then first of all, I want to say it's great to hear Michelle's beautiful voice on the line today. I had a premonition that she was probably going to be there, and she was, and so it's great to hear her voice and to hear about her children's accomplishments, especially her daughter's graduation. So I wanted to say that first and foremost. The things that I have on my mind is to go off your original read-in when you said in order to keep it, we have to give it away. And that is what Dave Wilson learned from
Can I interrupt you for a second?
You can.
Are you speaking directly into your microphone? Your words are a little distorted. Okay. It's just a little distorted. It's a little hard for me to hear you, but
okay.
And I've got some road noise behind it, too. So go ahead.
Gotcha. I don't have my headset in. If I find my headset, I will put that in because I think that makes it better. Is that better? Or?
No, you are more muffled than normal.
Oh. I'm not sure what to do about that. Do you guys want to continue talking, and I'll go find my headset?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
And maybe if you said you had a couple of hands up, Michelle, maybe there's somebody else with a hand up we can say hello to and see what they have to share.
Sure. Area code 808. You're on the air. Who do we have, and where are you calling from?
This is Roma. I'm calling from Maui.
Ooh.
Hello,
awesome.
everybody.
Welcome, young lady.
Thank you. Yesterday when you were talking, I believe it was Gail you were talking to yesterday. Hello?
Actually, it was Julie.
Oh, Julie.
Julie,
right. Okay. Yeah, I was confused as to the name. But you used the phrase, listen to the language. And it really hit home with me because on Friday, after we were processing in this program on Friday, so I was very open. I went a couple of hours later, I went to an acupuncture session, which turned out the emotions were so available, he had to take the needles out, and he used suction cups on my back. And when the treatment was over, I was sitting with the receptionist in an altered state of consciousness, and all of a sudden I said, and my heart was just streaming, and all of a sudden I said, I can't hide my love. And I realized, yeah. And
that was a pretty clear
language
directive from Yeshua 2,000 years ago when he said, don't put your light under a bushel basket, and the bushel basket is all the hostilities and fears that we generate that cover that up. So nice. There's a nice taste of the presence.
Yeah, it was very direct. And when it happened, I was shocked that the wording came out the way it came out. And when I remembered this as you were talking to Julie yesterday, my breathing started to change and my whole body started to tremble. And I realized that hiding my love has been a pattern throughout my life. So it was very, very illuminating. And I thank you for that phrase, listen to the language.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you're coming out of a pattern and getting conscious of the pattern that was there, and to continue to move in the direction of, yes, you said that's first order of business. You got to keep that active and present. So that's awesome. Nice work.
Exactly.
That'll melt everything that the world could possibly resonate. One of the beautiful things about being willing to be in that connected space and allowing things to surface is that if we don't reach for some kind of block to the energy, something to support us in hiding from it, that which is unlike love that opens in that space will simply dissolve. And as it dissolves, you're freed of the generations. That's the whole idea of the work. And there's a process or a point that I've observed, and I've only observed it a few times in a few people, but I've observed it often enough to name it, at least from my experience, and that is to hit what I've coined as process point. And knowing that the definition in this work of process is the ability to keep love conscious, active, and present when something less than love comes up. And when you get to a point of willingness, I think there are several probably factors: vitality, willingness, trust, and the use of the tools. There's a point where that veil of the temple is simply open. You can't not only hide love, but you can't hide anything. And so up flows those old trauma experiences, but because you're at process point and love is continuously present, those things just melt off high speed, fast forward. And it's an awesome place to get to, and it sounds like you're with that support of the acupuncturist that you're getting to that place, and that's a fabulous place to be.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm becoming, the more I visit and participate in these phone calls, I'm becoming more and more aware of the incredible intensity of the consciousness in these phone calls. And I want to thank you for that and making it available to anyone who is luckily guided to dial this phone number at whatever point in the day you're on. So thank you for the program.
Well, thanks for recognizing it. Thanks for joining and supporting it. And that's exactly our purpose. I feel, having done this work for close to half a century now, that the last 6 years, we've had this media available, this technology that's just expanding out. I'm actually talking with another network about maybe linking in with this show, so we'll expand our reach even further. But, the magic of here you are sitting in Maui, dialing a little piece of metal in glass, and here I am on a car on the interstate, I-75 in Florida, and there's Tim in Chicago and Michelle in Michigan, seeing your hand go up, push a little button, and here we are recording something that'll be available for eternity. I mean, how cool is that? Whoa. Talk about a universal brain, I mean, once we finish this show, anybody that wants to can go to the archives, download it, put it on their phone, and how many copies of it will there be in a week, a month, a year, 10 years, 100 years? How many copies of this conversation will be out there, and other people listening and tapping into that consciousness and getting that support? And that, to me, is just like, wow, what a gift.
It's fast track. It's fast-tracking human consciousness.
Yay. Critical mass is coming. It's got to come soon.
Yeah, right. Okey-doke. All right, well, Jeanie, have a wonderful journey, and thank you both very much. And aloha.
You are absolutely most welcome. All right, blessings. Aloha. Rachma. Maybe we should start making like the Hawaiians did. The word aloha is precisely identical to the word Rachma. I believe that the Hawaiians were one of the lost 12 tribes. And so maybe we should start a greeting. Aloha, let's start Rachma. It's just so powerful to recognize that's the number one order of business, is when I can keep love conscious, active, and present, my game changes. All right. Well, Michelle, do we have anybody else with a hand up, or how are things going in the chat room? Were you able to get that flash update?
No, I think what I have to do, I've updated permission controls, firewall, the things, but then I have to shut the computer off and turn it back on, and I'm hesitant to do that mid-show. So if we have a caller and I've got a 5-minute block, I'm willing to do it, but not with potential people.
Right. Okay, well, let's put that on hold. If anybody wants to get into the chat room and it's not available because of a computer glitch here, then perhaps they could just pick up the phone and dial in, 646-200-4169. If you want to listen, and then if you have a question for us, if you push 1, you will be listening, or we'll be talking.
You just
Hey, Michael, I got my...
there you go. I hear you, young lady back there. Hey.
Do you hear me?
Here
okay.
we have
yeah,
somebody in Illinois, somebody in another state, just right here with this technology. It's so awesome.
Michael, I've counted over 25 different area codes and some multiple phone numbers with the same area code listening at the moment. And so I was like, look at that. How many different cities around the country?
Fabulous. And there's at least one other network that we're on that we can't see in our switchboard, so who knows what happens there. So it is pretty sweet to be able to do this. So what's on your mind, Gail?
Well, I'm glad you can hear me now. I was going to continue on with what you said about in order to keep it, we need to pass it on, and that's exactly the premise of what the AA program is based on, or what the 12-step programs are based on as well. And it started with the Oxford group. That was their 6th tenet that they had in place before AA became AA, and was people were having their vital spiritual experiences through joining the Oxford group. And a gentleman named Ebby Thatcher carried his message to a gentleman named Bill Wilson, and that was what he was told to do, was to, if you want to keep this, what you have, you need to carry it on to somebody else. And so after our co-founder, Bill Wilson, got sober, he attempted to carry the message to others. About 6 months after he got sober, and then he discovered the formula, which was to talk about his drinking instead of talking about other people's drinking, in order to get identification. And when he got that identification, then he learned to talk about the solution, which is to either work the tenets or later came the steps. And this past week, I believe it was on Thursday, June 10th, was the 81st anniversary of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the weekend after that is what is called Founders Day. That is when about 10,000 people converge on Akron, Ohio, and take the tour of the Mayflower Hotel, where Bill Wilson was thinking about drinking, and he was passing back and forth, and he found a church directory and started calling people so he could find another alcoholic to talk to. They also tour Dr. Bob's old house, and they also tour where that first conversation between Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson took place. And this conversation took place on Mother's Day of 1935. And then Dr. Bob Smith's first day of sobriety ended up being June 10th of 1935. So that's where we come up with the anniversary day and celebrating Founders Day in Akron, Ohio. So I wanted to tie that into what you said earlier.
Well, we'll wish happy birthday to AA, and congratulations to Bill for having the ears to hear and listen, and the Oxford group for creating a foundation that supported him to move forward, and the millions and millions of lives that have been touched. It's just, it's monumental.
Absolutely. The other comment that I had was I need to make a correction about how the word pigeon became a popularly used term for people that are sponsored. It actually is a World War I term. And they used the word pigeon because they gave pigeons messages to carry to the front line. So that ties into what you said earlier as well, and that when we sponsor somebody, we carry a message to them, or we give them a message with the expectation or the hope that they, when they get sober and work the steps, that they'll be able to carry a message as well.
Oh, well, that's not nearly as fun. That's not nearly as fun an explanation as the one you had last week. I loved that one last week. For those who weren't on the show last week, she said that they were called pigeons because people come and they're drinking and they decide to stop drinking, and then when they want to have another drink, they poop on you and fly away. I thought that was a much more fun explanation and very accurate too. So we'll create a dual definition for the word then.
Yeah, the primary one, and I said this on a private chat group or a private group that I belong on Facebook, and I was corrected. And so anyway, and I'm going to go along with the correction and pass on the correct information to you. I think that
well, we
the term
appreciate
later,
the support of the world.
I wanted to make a comment about what Dr. Kim said, and he said it along with we don't stop this work, we continue going on, and that supports our step 10, which is we continue to take personal inventory, and when we are wrong, we promptly admitted it. But I want to read a paragraph of what it says in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous about this, is that we keep doing our work, and it's on page 85. It says, it's easy to let up on a spiritual program of action and to rest on our laurel. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent upon the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are the thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of will. So what that tells me is that, I have to keep doing this work, or I will drink again if I don't do it. So that was my comment there, and I have one more.
Go for it.
I'm delighted by the fact that you keep bringing up Carl Jung, and I wanted to say that Carl Jung was a very instrumental person when it came to Alcoholics Anonymous. So he was the one that Carl Jung, there was a gentleman named Roland Hazard that went to look for Carl Jung, and he in order to get help with his drinking, and he originally wanted to go to Freud, but Freud was too busy. He next wanted to go to Adler, but Adler was too busy, and so he ended up with Carl Jung, and he worked with Carl Jung for a year, and then he came back home, and he drank again. Very shortly, he went back to Carl Jung, and Carl Jung is the one that planted into his head, you need to have a vital spiritual experience. And so that's when he found the Oxford group, and it went from there. So we recognize that Carl Jung is one of the people that helped us come up with our step 2, which is we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. But we also recognize him as having an influence on the development of Alcoholics Anonymous.
that's an interesting piece of the puzzle. And there was another quote that I had found from Jung. Ties into that, and he's not just referring to alcoholics, but here he talks about all his patients, and he says, among all my patients in the second half of life, that is to say those over 35, there has not been one whose problem in the last resort was not that of finding a religious outlook on life. It is safe to say that every one of them fell ill because he had lost what the living religions of every age have given to the followers, and none of them has been really healed who did not regain his religious outlook. In other words, you got to go to the principles of the universe and tap into, and it's thought of as religious and more so back then than now, but just recognize that it's that connection to the active presence of love that needs to be recovered. And somebody who's got that is the unconscious, has such a thick barrier over it that it won't allow anything else to express through the mind. It's a tough place to be. And it's the continuous application of the process of forgiveness, which, in my view, doing the reality management worksheet is really like, it's kind of a mini and a macro inventory every time you do it. You're doing an inventory of what the current issue is that's going on in your life and in your mind, and then you're opening the space to look at that in a broader context when you actually engage in the core step of canceling the goal that drives the perceptual mind. So it so perfectly ties into the whole 12-step process that, and of course gives the piece that most of the world still hasn't found, and that is that forgiveness isn't about them, it's about changing what's going on inside of me.
Absolutely, and agreed. And go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm complete. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I'm working with a lady that I sponsor, and we meet on Monday and Fridays. And she's working on her inventory right now, and I've been sitting there with her with my wake-up sheets while she's been working on her inventory, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, I so want to introduce her to the wake-up sheets, but it's not the right time at this time to do that.
Premature.
And so, yeah, I get that, and I am so grateful for the wake-up sheets to be able to immediately go to the source of my upset and to be able to dive into the unconscious. And I want to acknowledge Julie, who was on the show yesterday. That was some heavy-duty work, and I'm right there with her because I've experienced it. And the lady that was on the phone earlier, I've been following her work as well, and I'm grateful for the openings that she's had, especially when she took the Buddha's work and put it in conjunction with Yeshua's work and that timeline. I've been thinking that as well, and it was really great to hear somebody else say that. So I've been following her and her work and her process and breathing right along with her. And this is so powerful to be able to breathe right along and have those same openings on the phone as well. And I've been experimenting with the drilling. I've been doing my stuff. It's like if I have a goal for one person, I've been going through those goals for that person and staying with that. And then I made the decision this week to start drilling into it. And like if I have an irritable, if I'm irritated with one person, where that irritation has been taking me, and it has been taking me to some of my deepest rages, and I've been astounded by where the unconscious has taken me in certain events and that I'd forgotten about that happened 44 years ago. And amazed by how much of an impact they have on me today. So I'm grateful for this work, and I'm grateful for the process and everybody that participates.
I certainly join you in that, and I hear you loud and clear. And, I think another benefit is that when someone has the courage to come forward, as Julie did, to share what she shared, and some pretty intimate process, that the person who holds the space of, I'm alone, I'm the only one who's ever experienced this, nobody else would ever understand it, gets to go, ultimately, after you've listened to the show long enough, oh my God, we're all the same. We've all been through the same stuff. It's the same. And there are, systematic ways to process through and move through and out the other side. And on the idea of introducing it to this person you're working with, my offering will be there might be a simple way to introduce it that you could do at any moment, like literally in the first 5 minutes of a conversation with a new pigeon. And that would be to simply, especially say if someone's doing their inventory, after they've gone through 2, 3, 4, 5 events, just to perhaps point out, you'll notice that in every case where you had disturbance, where there was something to take an inventory about, notice that you had a goal for somebody, yourself or someone else, that was not being fulfilled. Just notice that. And that creates an opening for, once you've maybe offered that to somebody a few times, for them to say, well, why is that important? What's that got to do with the process? And that creates an opening for explaining the fact that the goal is a driver for the whole pained process of aberrant perception. And that when I learn to cancel that goal, that's when my pained perception collapses and I get to do some deeper healing work. So that, without going into the whole worksheet process or anything, just at a point where somebody's hit a few high points of their trauma, they have to start to be able to recognize there was always a goal involved. And I think that might be an easy way to open the space to get that in where people can start to understand it.
Yeah, that's good. It's very good. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I
Michelle,
agree. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
207.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that is an awesome opening. Yeah, exactly. And thank you for those words. She is very aware of what I'm doing. She is choosing right now to do her inventory first, and then she wants to do this next. But it's me and Michael wanting her to get out of pain and a little bit faster. So anyway, thank you for that. And I am going to put myself on mute and listen to the rest of the show. Thank you so much. And travel blessings to Jeanie.
Yes, I'll tell her you shared your travel blessings. So, Michelle, you have anybody else with a hand up or any thoughts to share before we go to a hand up if there's somebody there?
Well, I want to let you know that the chat room was open after we last talked. So actually Julie was sharing her accolades for the direction she got yesterday, and has already been in touch with Dr. Andraki, and she's working on it. So I thought that was a great thing to share. And we've got, area code 207 on the line here.
Hey, 207. You're on the air. Give us a name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Michael. It's Shelley.
Hey, young man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I guess so. Hey, I've got a question for you that's processing right now, and I hate this when I go through this shit. Okay, I'm in a great new relationship right now. Okay, but I keep having thoughts that I can't control from the last relationship I was in, and it makes me feel like I'm out of integrity with the relationship I'm in now, and I don't know how to process this and get through this so that I'm not feeling that way.
Well, so then, am I hearing that you have a goal to be perfect?
Maybe.
So you might find it useful to cancel your need to be perfect, and instead be honest. And as you cancel your goal to be perfect, I should be doing it this way. Somebody set a model up of how you should be doing it. The way you should be doing it is the way being would do it. And if I'm out of integrity with that, then, this is if you're in a new relationship, this is a perfect place to open the space for the conversation of the last paragraph of the commitment. If you haven't introduced the commitment yet into the relationship, you might. And then the last paragraph of the commitment says, if anything less than love comes up, I'll hold this in my heart and listen as we each learn to speak, experience, and be responsible for our own realities. I'm here for and with you, keeping communication open and keeping love conscious, active, and present as we heal, celebrate life, and grow together. And so when I recognize that, then the relationship, rather than being a space where you have to be perfect and I have to be perfect, and anything that we don't want to deal with, we just hide from ourselves, which of course means it's going to become a major event in our lives sooner or later. When you can open the space to say, I come to this relationship with my bag of garbage, and I recognize that perhaps you have one, and maybe she hasn't shown it to you yet, but I guarantee she's got one. So how about if we start right off from the beginning, making it safe for each of us to bring forward and embrace with and for each other our bags of garbage so that we can move through those energetic dynamics. And I have an energetic dynamic that for me has me feeling like I'm out of integrity, and I want to clean that up, and I'd like your support in doing it. And, start out with the commitment, right, at the beginning of a relationship, and recognize that she isn't and you're not perfect. And if you try to live up to that, you're just setting the relationship up for future trauma.
And that's not what I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the same thing in this one that I've done in the last one.
Right. So did you hear the suggestion of ask for support, own what's going on, tell the truth, and move through it? One of the fastest way to move through something is tell the truth about it.
Okay.
And I'd offer that if the relationship isn't strong enough to handle the truth of what's going on, or you feel like you can't trust the relationship to handle the truth of what's going on, then maybe you need to step back a little bit and take it a little slower and just let it develop and open as it needs to open.
I think it is, and I think I can. I think it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll set a great precedent for her and for yourself to be able to deal with what's hidden. That none of us. You've seen Jeanie and I at the front of where we do the demonstration, the bags of garbage, and we meet somebody and we each want to keep our bags of garbage hidden. No, I don't want you to see this part of me. But if I keep hiding that part of me, I have to put energy in it to put it down, to push it down. And if I push it down by adding energy to it, what's happening is I'm guaranteeing that at some point that's going to become powerful enough to overpower me and influence what I think, feel, and do. And that's ultimately what tends to destroy relationship, is when those things that we've been trying to hide, we've been trying to push down, when they finally come up. And so I'd invite you to stay in your breath, keep connecting yourself to love and processing through those things, and be aware that there's no substance or behavior that's going to fix it for you. It's about doing your work.
Yeah, I have actually been wanting to use the last 2 days. I've been fighting that off.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, we're here to hold the space. What are you feeling right now? It sounds like some grief.
I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know. I do not know.
Notice how tight your throat is, and it wants to lock the energy in. So maybe just at this point, let yourself take a breath and let your throat soften. I mean, your voice is up about 3 octaves, and locking down the energy, it feels like from your shoulders down into your diaphragm. And so maybe just let that soften and let that energy move. You know how to do still point. And just let yourself breathe into the emotion that's there. And as you burn it off, you'll see the thought that's under it. And as you see the thought, you'll just change it, and it'll be out of the way.
Yeah, I've been trying to wait for the thoughts. And they do come and go, but the ones I can't control, they're the ones that are bothering me. The ones that I just, every little thing I see triggers me into a thought that I don't want.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You do want it. You do want it. You want to be able to become conscious of that and embrace it in the active presence of love. And as you become conscious of it and embrace it in the active presence of love, instead of saying, oh, let me close my throat, my chest, my diaphragm, I don't want this, you lock it in and you make it a more powerful factor in your life. You do want it. If it's there, you want truth. Let me breathe into the truth. Let me hold into the space of love. It burns off. By pushing it down, I just give it more strength and hold on to it. So I do want it to be there.
It sucks. Processing shit sucks.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, so notice how much of your life to this point, till you start to wake up and do your work, sucked. So now here's what your assignment is. Bring the presence of love to every thought in your life that ever sucked and created behavior that sucked, and breathe into it and let it go. But by saying I don't want this and trying to hide it just gives it more power. When it comes to the light, it disappears. I don't know who's coughing in the background, but maybe you could mute if you would.
I'm so sorry. How do you mute?
Yep. On your phone, I don't know. There's a mute button.
Right. I'll get it. Yeah.
So sorry.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And so you just let yourself drop into the deeper and deeper and deeper parts. And what you might find is when you take the next breath and move to the next layer deeper, it's going to be even more, in terms of the judgments you're holding for yourself, terrible than the one you're looking at now. And as you breathe in that, it may be more intense and deeper and more judged as terrible than the last thought. But as you let yourself embrace them in love, if it's not like love, it will melt and disappear from your life.
All right.
It's safe to go there.
Just another level.
Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. And we're here to hold the space. You got a whole community, a global community right here.
I know.
Holding the space, supporting you through it. Go, Michelle.
Thank you.
Hey, Shelly.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Michelle. Listen, why not consider going back to one of the archive radio shows when you've been on the air, maybe in February, March, when you were like just jamming and you were in the zone and you were aligned with love and you were feeling it and you were promoting it and you were full of light and love. And, as a reminder, because you're capable and that might help springboard.
Well, I feel like I'm still in that space of love right now. It's just that I've got stuff coming into my brain that I can't keep out, and I guess I'm not supposed to keep it out. Let it come in, let it float through, and deal with it. And my new relationship that I'm in now, I have learned something from this relationship that I put offers up on the table that I really don't want people to take. And we had something today. I ate a candy bar. She got really upset because I'm diabetic. She got really upset. She said, "Why are you doing this?" And literally, we was in somewhere in Delaware or Pennsylvania, coming back on a road trip, and I bought this candy. I was jonesing for this mountain bar, and I bought it. I came out and I put it on the console. She said, "What are you going to eat that for? You don't need that. What are you going to eat it for?" And I said, "Because I want it." And literally, a monk in Delaware walked across the parking lot. She said, "Look, you see that man right there? He's telling you right now you don't need that candy bar." She says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't care. He's not here for me." She said, "No, that is a sign to you that you need to get back into your inner peace and find yourself and not eat that candy bar." So I said, "Whatever." And I ate the candy bar. She was mad at me. We went to dinner, and while we was at dinner, I said to her, I could tell she was upset with me. And I said, "Do you want me to just take you to the next airport and drop you off?" And she said, "Well, let me ask you one question. Do you want me to go to the next airport and be dropped off?" And I said, "No, not really." She said, "Then why would you put that on the table? Because if I'm in a bad mood or something's going wrong with me, I may take you up on that offer that you don't want me to take. And then on the same level, I'm going to take you up on an offer that I don't want to take, and it's going to change both of our lives to a place that we don't want to go. So why would you even offer that to me?" And I think that's when the processing started 2 days ago. All this started going through my head.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah.
What support.
It is a gift.
So notice that she invited you to let go of your drug, and beneath the desire for the drug was all of this. And notice that whenever you want to drug yourself, that's the time to recover your being. That's the time to go back to bringing the active presence of love forward and letting whatever is held in carbon-based memory melt off. Let it be forgiven.
So that probably is
What
when it all
support?
started.
That's awesome.
That probably is when it all started with that candy bar, huh?
Yep. And so notice you were, what, I want it. No, it wasn't that I want it. The truth was there's something coming up that I don't want to feel, and so I'm going to drug myself. Sugar is one of the most powerful and addictive drugs that there is.
Thank you so much. I feel so much better. Every time I talk to you
Peel
guys, I
off
feel
the
better
layer.
when I'm processing. I'm going to peel it off. I'm going to let it come up.
Yay.
You know what
Yay.
they say, crap
And we'll be
floats to the
holding the
top.
space.
You know what they say, crap
That's it.
floats to the top.
It has to.
Thank you.
It has to in order to be burned off. And,
Thank you, Michelle.
just recognize that it's safe to go through all of the insanity, the craziness, that it's safe to keep bringing forward that presence of love and move through it. And so the next time you've got a desire for a candy bar and she says, what are you doing? I'd support you saying, oh, something's coming up I don't want to deal with. Would you just hold the space for me and let go of whatever the driver is for the addiction? Sounds like an awesome space of support she's creating. Fabulous. Nice work.
Yeah. She's I told God, I said, God, I quit asking for what I wanted, and when I went through all my other stuff, I said, God, just do what you want to do. Bring me what you want to bring me. And literally, she showed up and pursued me. I didn't pursue her, and that's what blows me away. That's what blows me away. And now I'm just in a process right now that I'm not understanding everything that's going on because everything is moving so fast forward for me that it's hard for me to keep up with what's going on.
Yeah. So remember, you can't figure it out, but what you can do is every time there's something less than love coming up, there's a goal driving, you can cancel the goal and drop into the next level. So let go of trying to figure it out and control the process. Be in it, keep connecting to love, and you move forward. And our time is just about out, so we're going to get disconnected in a few seconds. So I'm just going to say thank you, everybody, for your support, your caring, your concern, holding the space. The work you do changes the world, and that's what we're here to do. Have a blessed one.
Thank you for your time.
Have the best year
Love
yet
you
of your
guys.
eternal life. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.